Yes, Rhode Island is famous for a lot of people. Even me. I'm Joanne Mercier, your moderator from Monday Morning Catholic, and I welcome you back to the third in our series of interviews from the NPM Convention in St. Louis, Missouri. And guess what? Every one of our interviews today comes from Rhode Island. Pretty good, huh? Thought we'd do a theme show, and since we had a few of our composers out there, we figured that would be the best way to do it. First off, Nancy Smith sits down with Tom Kenzia. Now, Tom is probably the most well-known of the three, and because he's been around for a while. You're not old, Tom, because I'm not that far behind you, but you've been around for a long time, and we in Rhode Island appreciate Tom's gifts and have for many, many years. He is pastor musician at Christ the King Parish in Kingston, Rhode Island, as well as being a Grammy-winning composer, and just recently received a diocesan award known as the Lumen Gentium Award for his service in the Diocese of Providence. So I was really glad Nancy could get a chance to sit down with him and get some impressions from him about his music, about what he's been doing, and about the convention in general. Remember, he comes from Rhode Island.
Good evening, Monday Morning Catholic. We're here at St. Louis at the NPM Convention, and I'm here with Tom Kenzia, composer with OCP.
Hello.
Hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I should look at the screen, right?
Sure.
All right, there goes that.
I know.
Can they edit?
Pardon me?
Can they edit?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so look, just cut out this.
Yes.
This little thing.
This
right
little
here.
banter will
All right, fine. What did you ask?
Who are you?
Good. I wish I knew. Who am I?
For the folks who don't know you, who are you? What is your ministry, Tom?
Well, I'm a pastoral musician at Christ the King Parish in Kingston, Rhode Island. I've been there since 1986. Previously worked in Arizona for 6 years and then in Connecticut for a few years before that. After college, I started working in parish work in 78 in Stamford, Connecticut, and started writing music at the same time that I was there. And actually because at the time in the late 70s, there was not a lot of music available in any genre that was all. It's just people think that the music that we're using now has been sitting around for ages, but even our traditional music has been sort of rediscovered in recent times. So in the late 70s, there was not much available. So I just, I thought, well, maybe I should just try to write some things for the choir I had, which is nearly all women. There was one guy.
That was with North American Liturgical Resources, yes?
Yeah, with an ALR, right?
Yeah.
And but I was writing stuff before any of it got published. I just wrote because I didn't really have any music for just women's voices. And a lot of the things that were available at the time where I thought were very dated sounding, that were contemporary. I mean, they were things written in the late 60s and early 70s that, they served a need for sure when they were written, but it seemed like there wasn't a lot of things available in a contemporary style that really sounded contemporary. So I just, again, in writing for women's voices.
So late 70s is when you started to write.
Yes.
Do you have anything in the just published, or you're working on? What is your current project?
Well, actually, I'm going back and re-recording things that I wrote then from the first 4 albums that were actually at NALR. Some of those pieces were actually written, originally at my first parish shop, like the Pietà and I the Lord.
Absolutely, some of my favorite music.
Well, the Pietà really was written for just women's voices originally.
Pietà. And I'm drawing a blank on the duet you did for weddings.
For Your Love, from Light of the World, or
from maybe it makes no difference. I don't remember, but your music was some of the first music I picked up when I became a music minister.
Well, there was a wedding song on Canticle called "In the Hands of the Lord."
That's it. That's it.
So I'm actually going to reintroduce a bunch of 15 songs from those 4 first albums, and then there's a couple of new things, the setting of the Irish Blessing on it as well. I did an arrangement of Amazing Grace that is linked to my May the Angels, which is based on that Polish Christmas Carol.
Oh, wonderful.
So
I'll have to bring that home.
well, yeah, it's very interesting because in all these years I've never really found a decent gospel feeling or version of Amazing Grace, you know, with gospel chord changes and that kind of. I know that I've heard those arrangements of it, but I don't know of any that are certainly in the Catholic. So linking the In Paradisum of May the Angels and then kind of segueing it into the closing song of Amazing Grace, I thought would be. I mean, I do it that way anyway, so.
Those of us who don't have your talents can start to do it as well.
Well, you know, it's funny because working in a parish and writing has been a real gift because it gives me the chance to work things out, you know, in real world life before it's printed and see if it'll work.
Okay. That's not the first time I've heard that.
And it's been a gift for me because I really feel that, you know, anything that ends up getting published, I know at least works. Mm-hmm. Whether people like it or not is a different story, but at least I have evidence that, you know, it's and not everybody has that luxury anymore. That a lot of writers are not involved in parish work, so.
That's great.
Because they just don't have the time. It's I've been fortunate that both pastors, past and present, have been kind enough to allow me to do my ministry in a larger scale as well as in the parish.
I didn't mention this before when we were talking before, but where do you see the church going?
I
know I should have given you a heads up. I'm sorry about that.
I'm not sure anybody. Before this Pope, I would have been a bit more pessimistic about the future, immediate future in my own lifetime now. But he seems to be not afraid of doing what the Spirit is clearly telling him. He seems to be able to jump, you know, and move fast with things that, you know, that are important. And it seems to have made everyone who's interested in the kind of church that is more inclusive of not just people, but prayer style, worship style. He seems to be. I'm more optimistic now that we won't be going backwards in the progress that we've made. I mean, some things I think are. It's able to look at things with a different lens when you're feeling optimistic, and I think that I can look back at some of the things that have happened in the last 20 years that at the time they have seemed more restrictive, but I'm actually seeing them as not, in terms of, like, for instance, you know, making the things that we do in church more what's the word I'm thinking of? Of special importance. You know, the sort of casual, anything is okay sort of sense of the 70s is. I'm glad we're moving away from that. You know, it's not. Maybe I'm getting older to the point where
we're all getting older.
Well, but you know that keeping holy the Sabbath.
Yes.
Not that going away has had a huge effect on family, you know, and I think that I have a sense that the church is trying to once again sort of to bring back some traditions that we miss and need, and that's certainly one of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Greatly appreciate you taking your time.
Thank you,
Tom Kenzia. That's Nancy Smith with Tom for Monday Morning Catholic.
Every state has something. It's Rotary Club.
Yes, every state has something. And Rhode Island, being as small as it is, surprisingly, had 3 composers at this year's convention. Our second one that we're going to be talking with is Gail Berberick, and the only woman among the bunch. Now, I'm not going to get into the gender thing here, that there should be more women composers in the church, but maybe there should. I'm not good at composing, so I can't say too much. But Gail is a triple threat. She sings, she plays violin, and she conducts, and she's a teacher, which is the biggest thing. She teaches at Portsmouth High School, I believe, because that was a recent change. And she's also the musician at St. Barnabas Parish in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Steve Romano, finally, we've seen the first of him in this set of interviews. Got a chance to speak with Gail to find out a little bit more about her. So here's Gail, the famous one from Rhode Island.
Coming to you again from St. Louis, the NPM Convention. I'm here with Gail Berberich, one of our Rhode Island local composers, but you'll find your material in Music Issue. And the Breaking Bread. So we're just going to ask a few people, how did you get your start in music? In a brief synopsis.
When I was a very young girl, like a preschooler, I taught myself to play my grandmother's piano. And I took violin lessons and guitar classes, and just music was always a part of my life. Remains that way.
Yeah, obviously.
Louder. Louder.
All right.
That's nice. It's better. And what new collections do you have right now?
I have some new pieces coming out.
Okay.
I'm working towards getting a new collection ready.
Okay.
I also write string music, so there's more of those
That's
pieces
right.
coming out.
Okay. Any
as well.
pieces in particular you'd like to mention that are available right now?
Follow the Light.
Follow the Light.
Yes, and then there's some communion songs that are in the dock waiting to go. So I won't mention their titles right now, but Follow the Light is a really wonderful Christmas piece, and also my nativity songs with
Okay.
Kevin Kyle.
And then one that is in the Music Issue, Breaking Bread, that we sang through, Come Follow Me.
Come Follow Me is
Check
in
that
there.
one out.
That's number 513 in the Breaking Bread.
That's a beautiful
And then
piece.
For Your Glory Reigns.
For Your Glory
A lot of
Reigns.
people are loving that. It's an upbeat Celtic feel to
Right.
it. It's very singable.
Right.
As well as O Lamp of Glory that uses one of Genevieve Glenn's texts.
And also check out, too, Behold Before Our Wandering Eyes.
Yes, Behold Before Our Wandering Eyes is
That's
a beautiful
beautiful.
chant that I wrote with Barney Walker for Holy Week.
And our final question for you, as you are in the trenches with the rest of us as music directors, what are your thoughts about where we're headed in terms of the Georgia's music right now? Where are we going?
Oh, I think we're going everywhere right now, and I think we're not quite sure which direction it is that we are going. I think with the changing texts and the decline of people attending on a regular basis, and technology and social media changing in the digital age, as well as a lot of young people who have turned in a different direction. So we just have to remain focused and pray together and create beautiful music and sing well together and respect each other's tastes and styles.
Thank you very much. So again, this is Gail Berberich. I'm Steve Romano from NPM St. Louis.
And I'm
Now
Nancy
for now,
Smith,
and
cameraman.
Nancy Smith on the camera.
Thank you.
Comes from Louisiana, gophers from Montana.
Continuing along our Rhode Island theme, we bring you probably the newest of our composers from Rhode Island, Silvio Cuyar. He is from Argentina originally. He and his family, I believe, and I hope I get this right because it's late and I didn't look it up on my notes. I believe he's at St. Michael's Parish in Providence. If I'm wrong, somebody will definitely correct me. But he's writing for the Spanish communities. And I think that's a wonder. If you've ever heard his family group at Mass, they're wonderful. I've really appreciated to hear them in either English or Spanish. But it's good to have him joining the composer ranks. And again, even though by way of Argentina, he's from Rhode Island. Here's Nancy Smith again, sitting down with Silvio.
Good afternoon, Monday Morning Catholic listeners. We have Silvio Cuellar. I think I messed it up, but he'll correct me. Silvio is from the Diocese of Providence, and he's a composer with OCP Publications. Good afternoon, Silvio.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family ministry?
Well, I'm originally from Argentina, from Bolivian parents. I'm here in the United States 25 years, and I've been at the same parish, St. Patrick Church.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I've been music director there since 2004.
Okay.
And I've been involved all my life with liturgy, especially here, my life here in the United States. And I fell in love with, well, at the beginning it was a hobby, but then eventually I went to a conference and I saw this as something more like a vocation, really. And I did a retreat once in Life in the Spirit seminar, and I felt inspired by God to start writing music.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now I know that you pulled your children into ministry, and I've heard them. It's been a while now, but I know they have their own ministry, don't they?
Yes, they do, and they are quite busy. We fight for the one sound system we have. Usually I lose.
Well, you know, when the children come along, if they outnumber you, you're going to be outnumbered all the way along.
Definitely. So.
Yes. Now, I know that you've done some composing, and OCP has published. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I've written many songs, but I haven't really have a chance to publish many of them because time limitations and also, yeah. But I got an opportunity once to write music for a specific project that was a collection that was coming for children so they could sing songs as they prepare to receive the sacraments.
Wonderful.
So there were reconciliation songs for communion.
Okay.
And I submitted 3 songs and they all got published.
Wonderful. Now both Spanish and English?
These particular ones that I wrote, they are in Spanish.
In Spanish, okay. But to your friend, you'll make them available in English, right?
Oh yes, eventually. And I'm hoping in the future to find more time to write music and also to be able to arrange it so I can have a chance of getting published maybe.
Of course. Now you're very involved, I didn't mention this earlier, but you're very involved with the Hispanic conference, music conference?
Yes, I started going to the Southwest Hispanic Conference that they take place every 2 years in the early 2002, 2003. And you helped me go to some of those,
yes,
I remember.
Yes.
And when we went there, we started meeting other composers, musicians, music directors from the East Coast. And we recognized that the Southwest was very heavy influenced culturally by Mexican American music. But the reality here in the East Coast is more diverse, more Caribbean, South American.
Okay.
So the styles were different than the Mexican American cultural liturgical experience. So we saw the need to do something. We originally we want to do just like a gathering, like a one-day type of mini conference, but that came out our first national conference. We founded an association of Hispanic musicians of the East Coast. Okay. And we are working now to have our 5th national conference in October.
That's wonderful. So if they wanted to Google this to find out more information, what
we have a website. It's amphe.org.
Perfect. Say it one more time, please.
amphe.org.
And the next conference is?
It's going to be in October in Long Island, Rugby Center.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's terrific. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time. And MondayMorningCatholic.org, I believe. Joanne will kill me if I've got it wrong, but she'll correct it. Thank you so much, Silvio.
Thank you for having me, and God bless everybody. Keep praising God.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks, Tom, Gail, and Silvio for sitting down with Nancy and Steve and, sharing a little bit about yourselves with probably a lot of people who don't know who you are, except for Tom. Everybody knows Tom. But we're glad, we're proud of you, and we are glad that you are from Rhode Island. Thank you all for joining us today, and we have one more installment coming up tomorrow as everything wraps up from the NPM Convention in St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you for joining us. Ciao for now.